ਡੰਡੋਤ ਬੰਦਨ ਅਨਿਕ ਬਾਰ ਸਰਬ ਕਲਾ ਸਮਰਥ ਡੋਲਨ ਤੇ ਰਾਖੋ ਪ੍ਰਭੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇ ਕਰ ਹੱਥ।
ਆਵੋ ਸਿੱਖ ਸਤ ਗੁਰ ਕੇ ਪਿਆਰਿਓ, ਗਾਵੋ ਸੱਚੀ ਬਾਣੀ, ਬਾਣੀ ਤਾਂ ਗਾਵੋ ਗੁਰੂ ਕੇਰੀ, ਬਾਣੀਆ ਸਿਰ ਬਾਣੀ, ਜਿਨ ਕੋ ਨਦਰ ਕਰਮ ਹੋਵੇ, ਹਿਰਦੈ ਤਿਨਾ ਸਮਾਣੀ, ਪੀਵੋ ਅੰਮ੍ਰਿਤ ਸਦਾ ਰਹੋ ਹਰ ਰੰਗ, ਜਪਿਓ ਸਾਰੰਗ ਪਾਣੀ, ਕਹਿ ਨਾਨਕ ਸਦਾ ਗਾਵੋ, ਇਹ ਸੱਚੀ ਬਾਣੀ, ਇਹ ਸੱਚੀ ਬਾਣੀ।
ਜਹ ਜਾਈਏ ਤਹਾਂ ਸੁਹੇਲੇ, ਜਹ ਜਾਈਏ ਤਹਾਂ ਸੁਹੇਲੇ, ਕਰ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਪ੍ਰਭ ਮੇਲੇ, ਕਰ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਪ੍ਰਭ ਮੇਲੇ, ਜਹ ਜਾਈਏ ਤਾਂ ਸੁਹੇਲੇ, ਕਰ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਪ੍ਰਭ ਮੇਲੇ। ਜਹ ਜਾਈਏ ਤਾਂ ਸੁਹੇਲੇ, ਕਰ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਪ੍ਰਭ ਮੇਲੇ, ਜਹ ਜਾਈਏ ਤਾਂ ਸੁਹੇਲੇ, ਜਹ ਜਾਈਏ ਤਾਂ ਸੁਹੇਲੇ। ਗੁਰਪੂਰੇ ਚਰਣੀ ਲਾਇਆ, ਹਰ ਸੰਗ ਸਹਾਈ ਪਾਇਆ, ਗੁਰਪੂਰੇ ਚਰਣੀ ਲਾਇਆ, ਹਰ ਸੰਗ ਸਹਾਈ ਪਾਇਆ, ਜਹ ਜਾਈਏ ਤਾਂ ਸੁਹੇਲੇ, ਕਰ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਪ੍ਰਭ ਮੇਲੇ, ਜਹ ਜਾਈਏ ਤਾਂ ਸੁਹੇਲੇ, ਕਰ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਪ੍ਰਭ ਮੇਲੇ, ਜਹ ਜਾਈਏ ਤਾਂ ਸੁਹੇਲੇ, ਜਹ ਜਾਈਏ ਤਾਂ ਸੁਹੇਲੇ, ਕਰ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਪ੍ਰਭ ਮੇਲੇ,
ਕਰ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਪ੍ਰਭ ਮੇਲੇ,
ਕਰ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਪ੍ਰਭ ਮੇਲੇ,
ਕਰ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਪ੍ਰਭ ਮੇਲੇ,
ਜਹ ਜਾਈਏ
ਤਾਹਾਂ ਸੁਹੇਲੇ, ਜਹ ਜਾਈਏ ਤਾਹਾਂ ਸੁਹੇਲੇ,
ਪਾਈ। ਹਰ ਗੁਣ ਗਾਵੋ ਸਦਾ ਸੁਭਾਈ, ਹਰ ਗੁਣ ਗਾਵੋ ਸਦਾ ਸੁਭਾਈ। ਮਨ ਚਿੰਦੇ ਸਗਲੇ ਫਲ ਪਾਵੋ, ਜੀ ਕੈ ਸੰਗ ਸਹਾਈ। ਮਨ ਚਿੰਦੇ ਸਗਲੇ ਫਲ ਪਾਵੋ, ਜੀ ਕੈ ਸੰਗ ਸਹਾਈ। ਜਹ ਜਾਈਐ ਤਹਾਂ ਸੁਹੇਲੇ, ਕਰ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਪ੍ਰਭ ਮੇਲੇ।
ਜਹ ਜਾਈਐ ਤਹਾਂ ਸੁਹੇਲੇ,
ਕਰ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਪ੍ਰਭ ਮੇਲੇ। ਜਹ ਜਾਈਐ
ਤਹਾਂ
ਸੁਹੇਲੇ,
ਜਹ ਜਾਈਐ ਤਹਾਂ ਸੁਹੇਲੇ।
ਨਾਰਾਇਣ ਪ੍ਰਾਣ ਆਧਾਰਾ, ਹਮ ਸੰਤ ਜਨਾ ਰੇ ਨਾਰਾ। ਨਾਰਾਇਣ ਪ੍ਰਾਣ ਆਧਾਰਾ, ਹਮ ਸੰਤ ਜਨਾ ਰੇ ਨਾਰਾ। ਪਤਿਤ ਪੁਨੀਤ ਕਰ ਲੀਨੇ, ਕਰ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਹਰ ਜਸ ਦੀਨੇ। ਪਤਿਤ ਪੁਨੀਤ ਕਰ ਲੀਨੇ, ਕਰ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਹਰ ਜਸ ਦੀਨੇ। ਜਹ ਜਾਈਐ ਤਹਾਂ ਸੁਹੇਲੇ, ਕਰ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਪ੍ਰਭ ਮੇਲੇ।
ਜਹ ਜਾਈਐ ਤਹਾਂ ਸੁਹੇਲੇ,
ਕਰ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਪ੍ਰਭ ਮੇਲੇ। ਜਹ ਜਾਈਐ
ਤਹਾਂ
ਸੁਹੇਲੇ,
ਜਹ
ਜਾਈਐ
ਤਹਾਂ ਸੁਹੇਲੇ।
ਕਰ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਪ੍ਰਭ ਮੇਲੇ।
ਕਰ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਪ੍ਰਭ ਮੇਲੇ।
ਜਹ ਜਾਈਐ ਤਹਾਂ ਸੁਹੇਲੇ, ਕਰ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਪ੍ਰਭ ਮੇਲੇ।
ਜਹ ਜਾਈਐ ਤਹਾਂ ਸੁਹੇਲੇ,
ਕਰ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਪ੍ਰਭ ਮੇਲੇ।
ਜਹ ਜਾਈਐ ਤਹਾਂ ਸੁਹੇਲੇ, ਜਹ ਜਾਈਐ ਤਹਾਂ ਸੁਹੇਲੇ।
ਪਾਰ ਬ੍ਰਹਮ ਕਰੇ ਪ੍ਰਤਪਾਲਾ, ਸਦ ਜੀ ਸੰਗ ਰਖਵਾਲਾ। ਪਾਰ ਬ੍ਰਹਮ ਕਰੇ ਪ੍ਰਤਪਾਲਾ, ਸਦ ਜੀ ਸੰਗ ਰਖਵਾਲਾ। ਹਰ ਦਿਨ ਰਹਿਣ ਕੀਰਤਨ ਗਾਈਐ, ਬਹੁੜ ਨ ਜੋਨੀ ਪਾਈਐ। ਹਰ ਦਿਨ ਰਹਿਣ ਕੀਰਤਨ ਗਾਈਐ,
ਜਾਈਏ ਤਹਾਂ ਸੁਹੇਲੇ ਕਰ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਪ੍ਰਭ ਮੇਲੇ ਜਹ ਜਾਈਏ ਤਹਾਂ ਸੁਹੇਲੇ ਜਹ ਜਾਈਏ ਤਹਾਂ ਸੁਹੇਲੇ
ਕਰ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਪ੍ਰਭ ਮੇਲੇ
ਕਰ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਪ੍ਰਭ ਮੇਲੇ
ਜਹ ਜਾਈਏ ਤਹਾਂ ਸੁਹੇਲੇ ਕਰ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਪ੍ਰਭ ਮੇਲੇ
ਜਹ ਜਾਈਏ ਤਹਾਂ ਸੁਹੇਲੇ
ਕਰ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਪ੍ਰਭ ਮੇਲੇ
ਜਹ ਜਾਈਏ ਤਹਾਂ ਸੁਹੇਲੇ ਜਹ ਜਾਈਏ ਤਹਾਂ ਸੁਹੇਲੇ
ਜਿਸ ਦੇਵੈ ਪੁਰਖ ਵਿਧਾਤਾ
ਹਰ ਰਸ ਤਿਨ ਹੀ ਜਾਤਾ
ਜਿਸ
ਦੇਵੈ ਪੁਰਖ ਵਿਧਾਤਾ ਹਰ ਰਸ ਤਿਨ ਹੀ ਜਾਤਾ
ਜਮ ਕੰਕਰ ਨੇੜ ਨਾ ਆਇਆ
ਜਮ ਕੰਕਰ ਨੇੜ ਨਾ ਆਇਆ
ਸੁਖ ਨਾਨਕ ਸ਼ਰਣੀ ਪਾਇਆ
ਸੁਖ ਨਾਨਕ ਸ਼ਰਣੀ ਪਾਇਆ
ਜਹ ਜਾਈਏ ਤਹਾਂ ਸੁਹੇਲੇ ਕਰ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਪ੍ਰਭ ਮੇਲੇ
ਜਹ ਜਾਈਏ
ਤਹਾਂ ਸੁਹੇਲੇ ਕਰ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਪ੍ਰਭ ਮੇਲੇ
ਜਹ ਜਾਈਏ ਤਾਹ ਸੁਹੇਲੇ ਜਹ ਜਾਈਏ ਤਾਹ ਸੁਹੇਲੇ
ਕਰ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਪ੍ਰਭ ਮੇਲੇ
ਕਰ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਪ੍ਰਭ ਮੇਲੇ
ਜਹ ਜਾਈਏ ਤਹਾਂ ਸੁਹੇਲੇ ਕਰ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਪ੍ਰਭ ਮੇਲੇ
ਜਹ ਜਾਈਏ ਤਾਹ ਸੁਹੇਲੇ
ਕਰ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਪ੍ਰਭ ਮੇਲੇ
ਜਹ ਜਾਈਏ ਤਾਹ ਸੁਹੇਲੇ ਜਹ ਜਾਈਏ ਤਾਹ ਸੁਹੇਲੇ
ਜਹ ਜਾਈਏ ਤਹਾਂ ਸੁਹੇਲੇ ਕਰ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਪ੍ਰਭ ਮਿਲੇ ਕਰ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਪ੍ਰਭ ਮਿਲੇ ਐਥੇ ਉਥੇ ਰਖਵਾਲਾ ਪ੍ਰਭ ਸਤਿਗੁਰ ਦੀਨ ਦਇਆਲਾ ਐਥੇ ਉਥੇ ਰਖਵਾਲਾ ਪ੍ਰਭ ਸਤਿਗੁਰ ਦੀਨ ਦਇਆਲਾ ਐਥੇ ਉਥੇ ਰਖਵਾਲਾ ਐਥੇ ਉਥੇ ਰਖਵਾਲਾ ਪ੍ਰਭ ਸਤਿਗੁਰ ਦੀਨ ਦਇਆਲਾ ਐਥੇ ਉਥੇ ਰਖਵਾਲਾ ਪ੍ਰਭ ਸਤਿਗੁਰ ਦੀਨ ਦਇਆਲਾ ਦਾਸ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਰਾਖੇ
ਦਾਸ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਰਾਖੇ
ਦਾਸ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਰਾਖੇ
ਦਾਸ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਰਾਖੇ
ਘਟ ਘਟ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਸੁਪਾਖੇ ਘਟ ਘਟ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਸੁਪਾਖੇ ਐਥੇ ਉਥੇ ਰਖਵਾਲਾ ਪ੍ਰਭ ਸਤਿਗੁਰ ਦੀਨ ਦਇਆਲਾ ਐਥੇ ਉਥੇ ਰਖਵਾਲਾ ਪ੍ਰਭ ਸਤਿਗੁਰ ਦੀਨ ਦਇਆਲਾ ਗੁਰ ਕੇ ਚਰਨ ਉਪਰ ਬਲ ਜਾਈ ਗੁਰ ਕੇ ਚਰਨ ਉਪਰ ਬਲ ਜਾਈ। ਦਿਨ ਸਰੈਣ ਸਾਸ ਸਾਸ ਸੰਭਾਲੀ। ਪੂਰਨ ਸਭਨੀ ਥਾਈ, ਪੂਰਨ ਸਭਨੀ ਥਾਈ। ਐਥੇ ਉਥੇ ਰਖਵਾਲਾ, ਪ੍ਰਭ ਸਤਿਗੁਰ ਦੀਨ ਦਇਆਲਾ। 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 ਆਪ ਸਹਾਈ ਹੋਆ, ਸੱਚੇ ਦਾ ਸੱਚਾ ਢੋਆ। ਆਪ ਸਹਾਈ ਹੋਆ, ਸੱਚੇ ਦਾ ਸੱਚਾ ਢੋਆ। ਤੇਰੀ ਭਗਤ ਵਡਿਆਈ, ਭਾਈ ਨਾਨਕ ਪ੍ਰਭ ਸ਼ਰਣਾਈ। ਤੇਰੀ ਭਗਤ ਵਡਿਆਈ, ਭਾਈ ਨਾਨਕ ਪ੍ਰਭ ਸ਼ਰਣਾਈ। ਭਾਈ ਨਾਨਕ ਪ੍ਰਭ ਸ਼ਰਣਾਈ। ਐਥੇ ਉਥੇ ਰਖਵਾਲਾ, ਪ੍ਰਭ ਸਤਿਗੁਰ ਦੀਨ ਦਇਆਲਾ। 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 ਦਾਸ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਰਾਖੇ, ਘਟ ਘਟ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਸੁਭਾਖੇ। ਦਾਸ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਰਾਖੇ, ਘਟ ਘਟ
ਸ਼ਬਦ ਸੁਭਾਖੇ।
ਘਟ ਘਟ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਸੁਭਾਖੇ। ਐਥੇ ਉਥੇ ਰਖਵਾਲਾ, ਪ੍ਰਭ ਸਤਿਗੁਰ ਦੀਨ ਦਇਆਲਾ। 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 ਪ੍ਰਭ ਸਤਿਗੁਰ ਦੀਨ, ਪ੍ਰਭ ਸਤਿਗੁਰ ਦੀਨ ਦਇਆਲਾ। ਨਾ ਕੋ ਬੈਰੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਬਿਗਾਨਾ। ਨਾ ਕੋ ਬੈਰੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਬਿਗਾਨਾ। ਨਾ ਕੋ ਬੈਰੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਬਿਗਾਨਾ। ਬਿਸਰ ਗਈ ਸਭ ਤਾਤ ਪੁਰਾਈ। ਬਿਸਰ ਗਈ ਸਭ ਤਾਤ ਪੁਰਾਈ। ਜਬ ਤੇ ਸਾਧ ਸੰਗਤ ਮੋਹਿ ਪਾਈ।
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 ਸੰਗਤ ਮੋਹਿ ਪਾਈ। ਨਾ ਕੋ ਬੈਰੀ
ਨਹੀਂ ਬਿਗਾਨਾ। ਨਾ ਕੋ ਬੈਰੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਬਿਗਾਨਾ।
ਸਗਲ ਸੰਗ ਹਮਕੋ ਬਨ ਆਈ। ਸਗਲ ਸੰਗ ਹਮਕੋ ਬਨ ਆਈ। ਨਾ ਕੋ ਬੈਰੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਬਿਗਾਨਾ।
ਨਾ ਕੋ ਬੈਰੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਬਿਗਾਨਾ।
ਜੋ ਪ੍ਰਭ ਕੀਨੋ ਸੋ ਭਲ ਮਾਨਿਓ।
ਪ੍ਰਭ ਕੀਨੋ ਜੋ ਪ੍ਰਭ ਕੀਨੋ ਜੋ ਪ੍ਰਭ ਕੀਨੋ ਸੋ ਭਲ ਮਾਨਿਓ। ਸੋ ਭਲ ਮਾਨਿਓ। ਸੋ ਭਲ ਮਾਨਿਓ।
ਜੋ ਪ੍ਰਭ ਕੀਨੋ
ਸੋ ਭਲ ਮਾਨਿਓ।
ਜੋ ਪ੍ਰਭ ਕੀਨੋ ਸੋ ਭਲ ਮਾਨਿਓ। ਏ ਸੁਮਤ ਸਾਧੂ ਤੇ ਪਾਈ। ਏ ਸੁਮਤ
ਸਾਧੂ ਤੇ ਪਾਈ।
ਸਾਧੂ ਤੇ ਪਾਈ। ਨਾ ਕੋ
ਬੈਰੀ
ਨਹੀਂ ਬਿਗਾਨਾ। ਨਾ ਕੋ ਬੈਰੀ
ਨਹੀਂ ਬਿਗਾਨਾ।
ਸਗਲ ਸੰਗ ਹਮਕੋ ਬਨ ਆਈ।
ਸਗਲ
ਸੰਗ ਹਮਕੋ ਬਨ ਆਈ।
ਨਾ ਕੋ ਬੈਰੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਬਿਗਾਨਾ।
ਨਾ ਕੋ ਬੈਰੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਬਿਗਾਨਾ। ਸਭ ਮੈਂ ਰਬ ਰਹਿਆ ਪ੍ਰਭ ਏਕ।
ਸਭ ਮੈਂ ਰਬ ਰਹਿਆ ਪ੍ਰਭ ਏਕ।
ਪੇਖ ਪੇਖ ਨਾਨਕ ਬਿਗਸਾਈ। ਪੇਖ ਪੇਖ सगल संग हमको बन आई, हमको बन आए। ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ।
ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। ਮੈਂ ਧੰਨਵਾਦੀ ਹਾਂ ਭਾਈ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਭਾਈ ਜਗਮੋਹਨ ਸਿੰਘ ਜੀ ਅਤੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਜਥੇ ਦਾ, ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੇ ਆਪ ਸੰਗਤਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਕੀਰਤਨ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਨਿਹਾਲ ਕੀਤਾ। ਸੋ ਜੋ ਅੱਜ ਦੇ ਸਮਾਗਮ ਹਨ, ਸਰਬ ਧਰਮ ਸੰਮੇਲਨ, ਆਪ ਸੰਗਤਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਜੀ ਆਇਆਂ ਆਖਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਗੁਰਦੁਆਰਾ ਪ੍ਰਬੰਧਕ ਕਮੇਟੀ ਵੱਲੋਂ, ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਸੰਗਤਾਂ ਇਸ ਵਿੱਚ ਪੁੱਜੀਆਂ ਹਨ। ਸੋ ਜੋ ਕੱਲ੍ਹ ਮੋਟਰਸਾਈਕਲ ਰਾਈਡ ਸਿੱਖ ਕਲੱਬ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਜਾ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ, ਉਹਦੇ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਅੱਜ ਸਰਬ ਧਰਮ ਸੰਮੇਲਨ ਜੋ ਹੋ ਰਿਹਾ ਹਨ, ਉਹਦੇ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਹੁਣ ਸਟੇਜ ਭਾਈ ਸਤਨਾਮ ਸਿੰਘ ਜੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਸਪੁਰਦ ਕਰਦਾ ਹਾਂ। ਉਹ ਅੱਗੇ ਦੱਸਣਗੇ ਸਾਰਾ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਚੱਲੇਗੀ ਜੀ। ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ।
ਧੰਨ ਧੰਨ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਗ੍ਰੰਥ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਦੀ ਨਿੱਘੀ ਗੋਦ ਦਾ ਆਨੰਦ ਮਾਣ ਰਹੇ ਸਾਧ ਸੰਗਤ ਜੀਓ ਅਤੇ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਗ੍ਰੰਥ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਆਪ ਜੀ ਨਾਲ ਫਤਿਹ ਅਰਜ ਕਰਦਾ ਹਾਂ। ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। ਅੱਜ ਇਹ ਉਹ ਘੜੀ ਹੈ, ਇਹ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਉਹ ਹੈ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਇੱਕ ਸੋਗ ਵਜੋਂ ਵੀ ਜਾਂ ਇੱਕ ਸ਼ਰਧਾਂਜਲੀ ਕਹਿ ਲਓ, ਉਸ ਸਮਾਰੋਹ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਕੱਠੇ ਹੋਏ ਹਾਂ। ਇਸ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਹੋ ਜਿਹੀ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਇੱਕ ਜਾਣਕਾਰੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਸਾਂਝੀ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਹਾਂ। ਆਉਣ ਵਾਲੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਇੱਥੇ ਪਹੁੰਚੇ ਹੋਏ ਬੁਲਾਰੇ, ਅਸੀਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਵੀ ਧੰਨਵਾਦ ਕਰਨਾ ਹੈ। ਸਾਰੀ ਸਾਧ ਸੰਗਤ ਦਾ ਆਪ ਜੀ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਜੀ ਆਇਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਬਹੁਤ ਬਹੁਤ ਤਹਿ ਦਿਲ ਤੋਂ ਧੰਨਵਾਦ। ਹੁਣੇ ਹੁਣੇ ਭਾਈ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਬੜਾ ਪਿਆਰਾ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਨਾ ਕੋ ਬੈਰੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਬਿਗਾਨਾ ਸਗਲ ਸੰਗ ਹਮਕੋ ਬਨਿਆਈ ਦੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਸੇਵਾ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਨਿਭਾਈ ਹੈ, ਬਹੁਤ ਬਹੁਤ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਧੰਨਵਾਦ। ਉਸ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਦੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਵਿਆਖਿਆ ਹੈ, ਮੈਂ ਬੇਨਤੀ ਕਰਾਂਗਾ ਤੇਜਪਾਲ ਸਿੰਘ ਬੈਨੀਵਾਲ ਕਿ ਉਹ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਦੀ ਵਿਆਖਿਆ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਅਤੇ ਅੰਗਰੇਜ਼ੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਨਾਲ ਨਾਲ ਕਰਨਗੇ, ਤਾਂ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਦੱਸ ਸਕੀਏ ਕਿ ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਦਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸੰਦੇਸ਼ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਸਾਡੇ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਇੱਕ ਰੂਹਾਨੀ ਅਤੇ ਰੱਬੀ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਗਿਆਨ ਹੈ ਉਹਦੀ ਪ੍ਰਾਪਤੀ ਹੋਣੀ ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ, ਇਹਦੀ ਸਮਝ ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਹੈ। ਤੇਜਪਾਲ ਸਿੰਘ ਜੀ।
ਹਾਂਜੀ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। ਸੋ ਜਿਵੇਂ ਸਤਨਾਮ ਸਿੰਘ ਜੀ ਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ, ਮੈਂ ਥੋੜ੍ਹੀ ਦੇਰ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਜੋ ਇੰਗਲਿਸ਼ ਟ੍ਰਾਂਸਲੇਸ਼ਨ ਨਾ ਕੋ ਬੈਰੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਬਿਗਾਨਾ, ਉਹ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਬਾਹਰੋਂ ਸਾਡੇ ਮੈਂਬਰ ਆਏ ਆ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਵੀ ਵਿਚਾਰ ਅਸੀਂ ਸਾਂਝਾ ਕਰੂੰਗੇ। ਸੋ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਪਤਾ ਲੱਗੇ ਕਿ ਜਦੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਇਹ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਪੜ੍ਹਦੇ ਆ ਇਹਦਾ ਮਤਲਬ ਹੈ ਕੀ ਹੈ ਅਤੇ ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਕੀ ਆ। ਸੋ I just wanted for a brief moment just provide the English translations for the hymns that were just sung by our head priest. It states, Bisar gai sab tat parai, jabte saad sangat mohe pai rahao. I have totally forgotten my jealousy of others, since I found the saad sangat, the company of the holy. Na ko bari nahi bigana, sagal sang hum ko bane aayi. No one is my enemy, and no one is a stranger. I get along with everyone. Jo prabh kino, so pal manyo, eh sumat sadhu te pai. Whatever God does, I accept that as good. This is the sublime wisdom I have obtained from the holy. Sab mein rav rehya prabh ek hai, pekh pekh nanak bigsai. The one God is pervading in all. Gazing upon him, beholding him, Nanak blossoms forth in happiness. So from this we learn that when we're looking upon others, God is within everyone, and we see no stranger. The fifth master, Guru Arjan Sahib, despite giving his life for the Panth, for the community, he still comes out with this hymn talking about Nako bari nahi bigana, sagala sang humko banyai. Within all, we see God. So how can we hate someone, and how can we not get along with someone? And I also just want to briefly mention, I think it's very important to document what is happening right now. It's a very historic event, and it's important connection to Stockton Gurdwara historically as well. Stockton Gurdwara for some time now has hosted interfaith events before it became such a common thing. In 1893, when the World Parliaments of Religion first started in Chicago, the Sikh faith was not invited to the World Parliaments of Religion. Despite that, the Sikh community established Stockton Gurdwara and started inviting faith leaders from across the county and across the state to preach the message of harmony and brotherhood. And whenever there was some event happening regarding the Sikh faith, once again, Stockton Gurdwara was the main hub. It was through Stockton Gurdwara, the Sikh community really became a part of the American community, the broader American community. Stockton Gurdwara, as the first Sikh institution in the United States, was a pillar in the community, and not just within the Sikh community, but within the broader public as well. And now with the 10th anniversary happening, it's crucial and it's important that Stockton Gurdwara once again is taking part and paying homage to those who lost their lives, because again, this was the safe haven for all Sikh immigrants and all South Asian immigrants once upon a time. And it was the capital of the Sikh faith up until the 1960s and 70s as well. And even to this day, religious leaders look upon Stockton Gurdwara as the main capital of the Sikh faith here in the United States. So that's why it's important for us and the Stockton Committee as well to pay homage and attend the ride in with the Sikh Motorcycle Club and pay homage to Balbir Singh Sodhi in Phoenix, and then ultimately reach Oak Creek, Wisconsin to pay homage and really spread the message that Stockton Gurdwara is still alive and active and still a major leader in the United States. With that being said, I just want to pass the mic back over to Sanam Singh so he can share the next part of the schedule. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
ਥੈਂਕ ਯੂ ਤੇਜਪਾਲ, ਥੈਂਕ ਯੂ ਸੋ ਮਚ। ਤੇਜਪਾਲ ਸਿੰਘ ਦਾ ਬਹੁਤ ਬਹੁਤ ਧੰਨਵਾਦ ਜੀ। ਤੇ ਇਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਹੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਥੋੜ੍ਹੀ ਜਿਹੀ ਜਾਣਕਾਰੀ ਦੇਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਸਾਡੇ ਕਲੱਬ ਤੇ ਕਲੱਬ ਦੀਆਂ ਪ੍ਰਾਪਤੀਆਂ ਤੇ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਚੱਲਦਾ ਆ ਰਿਹਾ ਸੀ ਉਹ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ। ਮੈਂ ਬੇਨਤੀ ਕਰਾਂਗਾ ਅਜੇ ਸਿੰਘ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਿ ਉਹ ਕਲੱਬ ਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਰੂਬਰੂ ਹੋਣ। I would like to request Ajay Singh Baniwal to go ahead and speak on behalf of the clubs to share our history, the presence and ongoing projects. Thank you.
ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। ਗੁਰੂ ਪਿਆਰੀ ਸਾਧ ਸੰਗਤ ਜੀ, ਜਿਹੜੀ ਮੇਰੀ ਸਪੀਚ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਵੀ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਸਨਾਮ ਸਿੰਘ ਬੋਲ ਚੁੱਕੇ ਨੇ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸਿੱਖ ਮੋਟਰਸਾਈਕਲ ਕਲੱਬ ਹੈ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਥੋੜ੍ਹੀ ਜਿਹੀ ਹਿਸਟਰੀ ਅਤੇ ਆਪਣਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਮਿਸ਼ਨ ਆ ਉਹਦਾ ਥੋੜ੍ਹੀ ਜਾਣਕਾਰੀ ਮੈਂ ਅੰਗਰੇਜ਼ੀ 'ਚ ਦੇਣੀ ਆ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਬਾਹਰਲੇ ਧਰਮ ਮੈਂਬਰ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਆਏ ਆ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਥੋੜ੍ਹੀ ਇਨਫੋਰਮੇਸ਼ਨ ਵਾਸਤੇ। ਸੋ ਫॉर those of you who are joining us here for today's event, I will just be covering a little bit about who the Sikh Motorcycle Club is and what our vision and goals are along just as a club in general, and then as for this event that we're here today for. So the Sikh Motorcycle Club, as you can see on the slide, we have our logo, and then on the right side of the screen we have Sardar Avtar Singh Dhillon. So Avtar Singh Dhillon is the founder of the Sikh Motorcycle Club in Canada, so that we're considered one big organization. So they started with the dream so many years ago about forming this organization where Sikh riders can come under one umbrella to raise awareness and ride as a group into other communities as well, and just show that uniformity and solidarity with amongst Sikh riders and with other riders as well. So next slide. So then who are we? So this is our legal term mission statement that we put on our website, we send to the state of California and stuff. But in essence, who are we? So we are a motorcycle club. So we're a group of individuals who love and share a passion for riding motorcycles. Beyond that, we are a group of individuals who belong to the Sikh faith. So we have this extra added identity of being individuals who are passionate for our faith, and we want to spread that through the lines that are mentioned in the slide, Manas ki jaat sab hai ek pehchanbo, which, as you can read in there, it says just to recognize the whole human race as one. So one of the goals of our club is to spread this message. Another message of our club is Deg Deg Fateh, which is a big pillar of the Sikh community, which means through charity and arms will you be able to get victory. This is a slogan that a bunch of countries, whether they want to admit it or not, is the way you become prosperous as a nation, as a community as well. So this is one that our gurus have embodied as well, and this is something that we strive for as well. So victory through faith, through charity and arms. So the Sikh religion, wherever you go, you'll see the Langar is a big proponent of the Sikh community, and in everything we do, the communal meals, whenever there's a huge humanitarian crisis, Khalsa Aid or other organizations are usually there and providing these humanitarian services, just because it is one of the pillars of the Sikh community as well. Okay, next slide. So beyond that, another goal of the Sikh community and the Sikh Riders, Sikh Motorcycle Club USA, is we talk about, you know, wanting to advocate for the causes of the Sikh rider. So we see ourselves as kind of like a middleman. We are bringing the issues that we face as Sikhs and as Sikh riders to the community of other motorcycle clubs, right? So we're taking our issues and raising it within the community of riders, as well as we're bringing the issues of the Sikh riders specifically to the general community. So that comes to everyone else. One of the like, I guess you can say, conundrum that any Sikh rider always faces is the helmet law that we have, right? So a lot of individuals, the elder generation particularly, when they see us riding, they come up to us and like, oh, you know, like, how are you guys riding with helmets, or do you guys ride with helmets? Because one of the biggest thing holding them back is the law, right? Having a helmet law. And one of the reasons why a lot of our riders are excited to do this ride to Wisconsin, one thing we're looking forward to is as soon as we get out of California state border, none of the states that we're going through other than Nebraska have required helmet laws. So it comes to our Sikh faith that we have the turban, we don this turban, it's our crown. So we feel like we are being suppressed when we're forced to, you know, wear a helmet over it. So that's one of the reasons we see. One of the goals of our club will be to try to see if we can get some sort of exemption. And a big model we look for, as I mentioned, of Tar Singh Tillo and the Sikh Motorcycle Club of Canada, they were able to push and get a religious exemption for Sikh riders in all of Canada. So even if there's helmet laws in Canada, if you are of the Sikh faith and you ride motorcycles, you are exempt from a helmet law. USA being a little bit more strict, it might be tough, but that is something the Sikh Motorcycle Club wants to take on as a challenge. We have members of, you know, local government here too, so we hope, you know, people will help support us as we try to, you know, champion this through. So that's another aim of ours. And then on the next slide, we have some of our history. So beyond just being a club that likes to go on rides and put on these events, there's other stuff that we want to do to show our charity, I guess, right? So we had our 550th year anniversary of the founder of the Sikh faith, Guru Nanak Dev Ji. So then for them, we did a 550-mile ride to commemorate those 550 years of the Sikh faith, the founder of our Sikh faith being around. So the Sikh Motorcycle Club went on a ride from, again, Stockton Gurdwara to Reading, and then to Sacramento, where we ended at the Capitol, just to commemorate that as well. And then beyond that, we go to a lot of the Sikh parades, the Nagar Kirtans, as we see here in Stockton. We take part here. We take part in Yuba City, and then Selma we've been a part of as well. And we do this practice of tying the turban, right? Because as we mentioned before, the turban is the crown of the Sikh faith. So it's very, very like vital for us to feel like we go into the community and tie these turbans on the younger generation, just to get them to feel motivated, because they always feel excited when they see us pull up in our motorcycles and they see us donning the turbans, and then they feel encouraged as well to, you know, one day they want to grow up and ride motorcycles with turbans as well. And then beyond that, we always love to collaborate with the community members as well. So Sikh Pantry was an organization that kind of started when, you know, COVID happened. We started doing food drives. So it was a big collaboration with them and other community organizations to get as involved as we can with the community and show them the, you know, our presence. Like I said, one of our goals is to bring, you know, our issues to the general community as well, and you can only do that if you actually get involved with the community itself. And then other clubs as well, like I mentioned. So the other goal is for us to bring Sikh issues to the motorcycle communities. So other motorcycle clubs are always hosting their own charity events, and they're doing their own rides. So we try to get involved in as many of those as we can, and we formed many great partnerships over the past couple of years with people who like had no idea who the Sikhs were, right? So we know our mission is working, because there's people who see a turban and they associate like, oh, I had no idea what you guys are, who you guys stood for, you know, what it means, what a Sikh is. So it just shows that, you know, what we're striving for is working. So next slide, we have the goal, the mission for what we are here today for is to ride against hate. So this is the ride, as Tejpal kind of mentioned, that, you know, post 9/11, Balbir Singh Sodhi was the first victim of a hate crime, you know, and after that, there's been a string of hate crimes. So the thing is, anyone sitting here who is of the Sikh faith, anyone who's wearing a turban or wearing a beard has probably had some sort of interaction where they've been name called or misidentified, right? So there were some big ones such as Balbir Singh Sodhi, and then we've had the Oak Creek, Wisconsin shooting, where we lost 7 lives, 7 members there, and a whole bunch of little ones scattered throughout. And this is something we know that we as a community, I guess you can say, we've been trying to raise awareness since Balbir Singh Sodhi, even since before then. But the Oak Creek, Wisconsin shooting happened in 2012, which was about 11 years after. And then as we can see, hate crimes are still going on against the Sikh community, right? And then where does that need to be addressed from is a question that the Sikh community has been trying to address and answer since day one. So the Ride Against Hate is just something we thought that as a club, we can do what we love, which is riding, and then going to Wisconsin to commemorate those lives lost there, and then having these interfaith events on the way to try to do our part as well. Beyond that, everyone in the audience here, like, everyone has their own duty as well, because raising awareness for the Sikh community, I tell a lot of people that I went to undergrad with, is like, we're an ambassador for our faith, right? So anything you're involved in, your career is your opportunity to show what Sikhs are and who we are as a person, because everyone here is an ambassador of your own faith, right? So it's your job to go out and show people who the Sikhs are. And beyond that, there's just a couple of things, because hate crimes are also reported. So we have FBI data that has shown that Sikhs are kind of like the 5th most targeted groups, even though we're very few in population. So, and hate crimes have been increasing since 9/11. So even despite all of our awareness and everything that we've been doing, the hate crimes are still happening. So there's something that needs to be addressed, something that we need to do. So we try to do anything that we can, but we need to always try to see what the bigger picture is, what else we can do beyond that. And like I want to mention that there's a lot of hate crimes that aren't mentioned. A lot of them go unreported. A lot of them start earlier, right? So I grew up here, so a lot of students nowadays also face bullying in schools, right? So when we think about who commits these hate crimes, right, it doesn't start from like a random site, right? Some of that is them growing up. They go into schools, they're the bullies end up becoming the people who commit these hate crimes, right? A lot of the hate crimes, as I was doing research for this presentation, like, they're 19-year-olds, 25-year-olds, 27-year-olds who are committing these mass shootings, right? So this hate is being taught somewhere where we need to intersect and address that, right? So there's a lot of organizations that are trying to do that, so we just wanted to do our part with this ride. And then, so like we mentioned, so we're doing interfaith events. So this is the first one to kick off our event. We're doing it here on our first major stop is going to be in Mesa, Arizona, to commemorate Balbir Singh Sodhi, who was the first victim of the hate crime post 9/11. And then we're going to make our way over to Oak Creek, Wisconsin, where we are commemorating the 10-year anniversary of the shooting that happened there. And beyond that, yeah, so that's a little bit of background about who the Sikh Motorcycle Club is and what we stand for. And once again, I would like to thank all of you for joining, and I appreciate you all showing your support for this ride. And there's a couple of us going, but people are saying that, oh, yeah, it seems like you guys are going to go have fun, right? Like, but, you know, if you're going to Sturgis and stuff, sure, you're going to have fun. But the meaning of this ride isn't to have fun, right? We're going to commemorate the lives lost, right? And it's hard. A lot of people I've been talking to, people who have done cross-country road trips, right? It's not easy to take a motorcycle and go 2,200 miles across country, right? There's only a few of us that are doing it, 8 of us. So even that shows, right? Because it's hard. You have to take time off of work. I was telling individuals, like, for me, I only get 4 weeks off of a year. So I'm committing, like, a quarter of my vacation time to this, right? So it's not going to be easy, because then I go there. Unfortunately, I can't come back because I have to take an extra week off, which I couldn't do. But then I go to work that following night. I fly back, land Monday noon, and then I have to go be at work for 10 p.m. for a 10-hour shift at the hospital, right? So it's not easy. So I, big appreciation for my fellow riders, fellow brothers who are doing this ride with us, and then appreciate everyone that showed support, whether it's through, sponsoring us, through funding, or even being here today to show your support and love for us. All right, thank you. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
Thank you, AJ. बहुत-बहुत धन्यवाद ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ. So we have elected officials out here, and you heard what we really want. I believe and hope so that you guys can support us. We're going to go for helmet exemption, all right? We need your support. Bole So Nihal! So we'll get going. Doesn't matter how long it takes, but the fight will be on. Thank you, AJ, once again. I would like to recognize our brothers from the other clubs who are here to support. We appreciate and thank you for coming out in solidarity. We have we have a Carol Coleman from Nomads, Buffalo Soldiers. Thank you so much for coming out today. We appreciate your presence out here. At the same time, we want to welcome and thank you, our brothers from Stockton, Punjabi Devils MC. We appreciate your presence as well. I'm going to go ahead and introduce our MCs, Kuljit Singh Nijjar, who will continue, and at the same time, on behalf of Stockton Gurdwara, Kuljit Singh Nijjar.
ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ behalf of Stockton Gurdwara Committee and our staff, our priests, we welcome each and every one. So living in 21st century, we still facing hate crime all over the country, and it must be end. So we welcome all the city officials. I'd like to request Mayor of Stockton, Kevin Lincoln, and also Tom Paddy, Supervisor, San Joaquin County, and Council Member of City of Lathrop, Manny Dablo. Probably I pronounced wrong, forgive me on this one. Jose Neno from Manteca City Council Member, and from Bureau, Harpreet Singh Dulai, he's here too, and Mr. Gary Singh, who's running for that Manteca mayor. He's currently council member, City of Manteca. Please. I'd like to ask Mr. Mayor, come here and say a few words.
Thank you for this opportunity to share a few words with you. The Stockton Sikh community means a lot to the city of Stockton. As we're all aware of the rich history of the Sikh community here in Stockton, being the first Sikh temple in the United States, over 110 years. I think it's very fitting that with Stockton being the first Sikh temple here in the United States, that this ride against hate begins here in Stockton and makes its way to Wisconsin. Even though it's been 10 years since the massacre that took place at Oak Creek, I know that there is still healing that families and communities need and desire to experience even to this day. And it's important to understand that this ride and your commitment, not only to this city and community of Stockton, but to our nation, helps bring that type of healing. Within the city of Stockton, racism and hatred is not tolerated and will not be tolerated. Recently, we passed a resolution that deems hate and racism a public health crisis, and we've committed in the city of Stockton to establishing a committee that's going to help us evaluate our city charter and our policies and how we make decisions moving forward through the lens of equity and inclusion. And so again, I want to thank the Sikh community for not only your commitment in helping to bring healing through this ride, but your steadfast commitment to the city that you love and you support. Because even in our most difficult seasons and times as a community, you've always stepped up to the plate to help provide our constituents and the residents with the support and love that they need. So it is an honor to be here today. It's a privilege to be able to share just a few remarks with you this afternoon. And this ride against hate and the Sikh Motorcycle Club has the full support of Stockton and our city council. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cavan. I'd like to ask Mr. Tom Petty to say a few words. In this country, back in 1920 to 1940, 50, there was a lot of sacrifice done by our forefathers, our elders. Pakistan is one of the person who was discriminated by the Indian government, by the American government. He was served as an army doctor, and his citizenship was cancelled by the American government. He fought for that one. 35 years later, he got a citizenship. So it's a discrimination in society and the government level too. So we're glad we have government officials here, and they are standing with us. And we are pretty lucky. We have a pretty good partnership with the city of Stockton and local politics. So Tom Petty, after that, I'd like to ask Militia Santos, District 10, and Harpreet Dulai, they can say a few words, please.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here. As we look at the pictures of the Oak Creek Gurdwara massacre and the other victims, you can see in their eyes that they're people of a community, people of a faith, and they also had that privilege and distinction of being American and sharing their culture, sharing their dreams, and sharing the ideology of everything that America stands for. That inclusion, that diversity, the opportunity to live a life and thrive. And that's the ideals that America is about. Any hate crime, any attack on that freedom, any attack on someone that's different is against the principles and the ideology of everything that America is the foundation of. This ride to commemorate that massacre is instrumental. I've taken rides across country and across Europe. For some of you that have or may not understand, this ride is going to be full of challenges. There's going to be road hazards. There's going to be cars that pull in front of you and don't expect it. There's going to be unexpected weather change. There's going to be dark moments of riding at night with no lights at all. And you're on the road and you can barely see any lines and it might be raining. It's full of many challenges. But the riders will persevere. They have faith. They have a mission to stand up against a massacre, against hate, and stand up for the very vestige and principles that this great country is founded upon. I'm going to ask that these riders are blessed with protection and the spirit of white light guides them, and that all of the souls in the heavens above and purgatory and every place in between and gathered in this great country protect them, and we keep them in our prayers so that they can complete this trip with full safety, with honor, and with our protection wishing and wishes for them every mile of the way. So it's an honor to be here today. I wish I was riding with you guys, perhaps another time. I am running for an office. It's not political, but I can tell you when I go to that office, I will stand up and fight and lead the charge for no helmet law. For Punjabis and for others perhaps. I'm not a big fan of helmets, so I will definitely stand up and lead that charge for you. And thank you. It's an honor to be here. And really, I wish you safety on the road and every mile along the way. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tom Petty. I'd like Melissa Santos, District 10, and like to invite our own youngster, Kiran Jot Pannu, and Ranveer Kaur Nijjar, If both heirs come to the stage, please.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Melissa Santos. I'm a district representative for Congressman Josh Harder, congressional representative for Congressional District 10, which is Stanislaus County and Southern San Joaquin County. It's an honor to be here today on behalf of Congressman Josh Harder for the launch of the Right Against Hate. Unfortunately, Congressman Josh Harder couldn't be here this evening. He is in Washington, but he hopes to be able to join for the next convening. He sent a statement on his behalf so that I can read it because he really wanted to be here, but unfortunately due to travel and voting schedule in Washington, he couldn't be. Here is a statement from Congressman Josh Harder. Today we remember the lives lost 10 years ago at the Oak Creek Gurdwara in Wisconsin. This loss will not be in vain. Because of this tragic incident, along with many others, we know and we will continue to fight against hate and be united. I stand in solidarity with our Sikh brothers and sisters, and I commend the Sikh Motorcycle Club for taking this road trip and paying tribute to those that we lost. We pray for your safe return, and we will continue to fight side by side for a future in which we all live in peace and unity. That is what I'm fighting for in Washington and in our district. Thank you so much for the invitation. Unfortunately, I was not able to join you this evening, but I will continue to fight for our diverse values in Washington. Thank you again.
Thank you, Melissa, and thank you, Josh Harder. I'd like to invite Mr. Harpreet from the Bureau to say a few words. He's working with the Bureau over 18 years, and he has been signed many cases, different area, and all over the country. And he speaks our language, and they are right now in Roswell office, and one of our own young lady, Karen Panu, she's working for Bureau also. So they are looking some recruitment also. They want more people come into the Bureau. So there's a lot of opportunity where our youngster can work and they can serve our community as well other communities. So Harpreet Singh.
Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. My name is Special Agent Harp Dulai. I've been in the FBI for 18 years. Been stationed in New York, Wisconsin, Washington, D.C., San Francisco, and now I'm very happy to be here in the Sacramento, Stockton area. In April, I was fortunate enough to be here, and I was walking around for the first time here at the first Gurdwara, and I saw a banner outside on the building over there. And I looked up at it, I looked up at it again. I'm like, wow. I took a picture, and I sent it to my dad who lives in Oak Creek, Wisconsin. I want to give you a little context to the writers that are writing out there and to everybody else on what I went through, what the community went through, what we all went through on August 5th, 2012. I was in Milwaukee. It's tied into the Milwaukee office. My wife and I sat down to work on her immigration papers. You know how that is. Stressful process. Sat down, and I got a phone call from my father. There's a voice like I've never heard before. Harpreet, there's been a shooting at the Gurdwara. Your mother is hurt. You need to go. That's all I needed to hear. I ran to my room, I grabbed my car keys, I put my gun on, and I told my wife, I have to go, there's been a shooting. Got in my car and I drove 110 miles an hour, lights and sirens. I didn't know if it was just two kids outside fighting or what happened. But when I exited the highway, I contacted my office. and they just heard about something that was going on in Oak Creek. Earlier that day, it's very customary, for folks who don't know, for people to make lunger. It's community lunch. Folks were in the kitchen. There was people in the living quarters where the priests prepare for the day. There was children downstairs in the lunger hall outside playing. Two kids ran inside into the kitchen, and they saw my mother. Like, hey, somebody's outside shooting. My mother's like, no, that's fireworks. No, those kids were not mistaken. That's when Wade Michael Page, the white supremacist, entered the temple. He went room to room, trying to find victims. My uncle confronted him. We believe he fought with a knife, but he lost his life. He was a president of the temple. The shooter, Michael Page, made his way over to the kitchen. My mother left her hiding spot in the closet, thought, oh, I got to turn off the gas stoves, because that's what she thinks at a moment like that. As she got to the middle of the kitchen, she saw the shooter 15 feet away with the gun out, and he shot at her. She ducked. She got hit by a ricochet. She crawled back into the closet, and at that point, we don't know why the shooter decided to go back outside. We think it was possibly because of the police department that just arrived, lights and sirens. And when you go there, the 8 riders, when you go there, you make it there on Thursday, you're going to meet a guy by the name of Brian Murphy. He was a police officer that was shot 18 times. He tried his best that day, and his actions, his heroic actions, I believe, saved many more lives. There was a lot of people inside. There was 12 people in that kitchen closet. There was roughly 24 people in the basement, including 16 children. There's other people that were scattered out running through trees. It's 10 acres of land. One of the priests, he saw the shooter, he ran, he was struck. He was able to run through the lunger hall, out the back door, through the woods, and fell in somebody's front yard. That gentleman, white male, came out with a revolver. You have a person in traditional Indian garb, blood everywhere. And he realized real quick, because he's the former police chief, former fire chief, that this guy is injured. He didn't know where he came from. He didn't know there was a shooting at the temple. So right around that time, the second police officer arrived. He pulled up the driveway. He saw a person that fit the description of the shooter. White t-shirt, black pants, black boots, revolver in hand. He drove back down the driveway, unlocked his long gun, pulled back up, and as he was getting out of his car, a bullet went through the windshield and hit his headrest. Literally missed him by a split second. He took 5 shots and nailed the shooter, and we believe the shooter took his life after that. That's when I arrived. I was the first FBI agent at the scene. I pulled up at the front driveway, and I saw the officer running down the hill. I think I got him. I think I got him. I don't know if there's more. So Brian Murphy had just been extradited out of there. This police officer thinks he got the shooter, but doesn't know if there's more. This is the start of a horrible, horrible nightmare. I won't get into the details of everything that happened after that. I do want to say I'm very proud of all the steps that my organization, the community, and everybody from around the world did from that point forward. I asked my dad, I'm like, how are we going to get through this? Are we going to have to tear down the temple? What do we do? He looked at me, and he's like, we're Sikhs. We're Americans. Hate won't win. We will be open on Thursday. Well, that was easy for him to say, because I had to go back to my boss and tell her, we need the keys at midnight, so we're open on Thursday. At first she said no, and then they're like, we'll try. They worked around the clock. It was a crime scene of over 10 acres. And I took 4 people with me at midnight to assess the damage. Broken glass, stained carpet. I won't get into all the details because it was a bad scene. Those 4 people were my dad's best friend, and my wife. Did all the measurements and all that. We made some phone calls, and contractors started showing up at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. By noon, doors were open, Lunger was being served, and everybody from around the world was making plans to be there for the funerals for the 7 loved ones. That 6 at the time, Baba Punjab Singh passed about a year and a half ago. He was in coma from 2012 through a year and a half ago. So 7 total. There's a lot of details and a lot of events that happened. But the one thing that I want everybody to know is hate did not win. Hate will not win. We will continue to move forward. And the reason we got through all this was because of the community support, from the Munders to the mosques to the Lutheran churches, the synagogues and the Red Cross, the Salvation Army, the police department, and people that don't belong to any religion. People were showing up with water, food. Not a single place took any money. Home Depot, Lowe's, everything was rebuilt. Everything. And there's one memory scar that's left. I had to plead with my organization to leave one mark, because I remember when I went to India, went to Golden Temple, and there are scars. We wanted to leave something as a memory that we are one. So when you go there, riders, look at the doorway that leads into the main Kirtan Hall. There's a little plaque on there that says we are one and has the date. It's a bullet hole from that day. So I'm going to close with this. I obviously don't have any prepared comments, right? So just telling you from the heart. I'm going to be there. I land Wednesday. I will see you all there, whoever makes the ride. And it really warms my heart, because if you don't know, Milwaukee, Wisconsin is where Harley Davidson was founded. I'm not sure which anniversary they're on. It's 110, 112, 113. It's a special place. And the fact that you guys are riding from here to there, yeah, that brings a tear to my eye. So thank you very much. And be safe. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
Thank you, Mr. Harpreet. He is the eyewitness. The horrible crime happened 10 years ago. And I like Gary Singh, City Council Member, Mantika. Please come forward. And Minnie Dablo, she's representing Lathrop City Councils. Jose Neno. Yeah, also like Jose Neno, Mantika City Council Member, please come behind that podium. And thank you, Punjabi Radio USA, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਸਾਰੀ ਟੀਮ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਕਿ ਵਾਇਸ ਆਫ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਹੈ, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਹਰੇਕ ਇਵੈਂਟ ਨੂੰ ਬੜੀ ਸ਼ਿੱਦਤ ਨਾਲ ਸਾਡੀ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਪਹੁੰਚਾਉਂਦੇ ਨੇ। ਬਹੁਤ ਬਹੁਤ ਧੰਨਵਾਦ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ। ਤੇ 2 ਰਿਪੋਰਟਰ ਨੇ ਜੋ LA ਟਾਈਮ ਤੋਂ ਨੇ, Ruben and Irfan Khan, both are traveling with them from Stockton to all the way to Wisconsin. So thank you both of them too. I like Gary Singh say a few words.
ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਫਤਿਹ ਬੁਲਾਈਏ। ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। ਜਿਹੜੇ ਇਵੈਂਟਸ ਵਿਸਕੌਨਸਨ 'ਚ ਹੋਏ, Harpreet just went over them. Very horrific events, but what you listened from that whole unfortunate events that he discussed was that hate didn't win. And that's exactly what this ride is about also. That we will not forget, and hate will not win, and we're going to continue to fight. It's just unfortunate that, you know, even in the city of Mantika, we had to face this when we had an individual that walked around the park and was assaulted by individuals just in the early morning and had nothing on him, and there was nothing there other than he was just an elderly man walking around the park wearing a turban. We were lucky. We were lucky that he's still alive today, and that unfortunately he's not up there as one of the ones that were lost. So this needs to stop. And it's all of us. It's the Sikh community, it's the American community. We are all united together. Tom Patty said the same thing. It's all of us together that can make the difference as electeds and the communities as a whole. We need to educate who we are, what we represent, and at the same time, make sure that the world understands that hate will not be tolerated. So I commend the groups. It's not going to be an easy ride, but you know what? It's a lot easier than what those individuals faced. So I commend everyone out here today that came to show support for these clubs and Sikh Motorcycle Club. But at the same time, I commend you guys to take the step and make it all the way to Wisconsin. So we truly will be behind you and hope for a safe ride for everyone. Thank you. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
Hi, my name is Minnie Khan Diallo, and I am a councilwoman for the city of Lathrop. I just wanted to come and show my support because the Sikh Motorcycle Club has done numerous community work with our city. During COVID, I couldn't find anyone to help us deliver and hand out boxes in our community, and they came as soon as I called. We gave out thousands of boxes in the community of Lathrop, and it just shows their dedication to making sure that no community goes without need or want. So I just thought it was very important for my daughter and I to come out and show our support to them and to thank them for spreading the message that hate cannot win. It's very valuable to show that we're going to push back and we're going to fight. And I am just honored and blessed to be here. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Jose Nuno, Councilmember City Manteca, and I'm here to show my support for the riders making this journey. Hearing the story of somebody whose family was there, you can feel the event. Being out having an opportunity to actually ride and be there and witness what happened is something to never forget, and something that will definitely change. Sikh community, for me, my family, I've learned over the years what it means being people of color, being people of difference here in America. There's a lot of things that we face. However, with education, educating others, having them understand who we are, what we do, having events like this, we can change that. So I wish you good luck in your ride, and wish you well wishes and come back. Thank you.
Thank you, Jose Nunes and Manny Davlo and Gary Singh. 2 years ago, there was crime in Tracy. Elderly person walking into the park around 9:10 p.m. and someone slashed his head. Clearly, there was a hate crime, and City of Tracy Police Department arrested the person. They got videos and everything. And District Attorney, she not pursue properly, and judge released the person, lack of evidence. And now we have a new District Attorney, Mr. Ron Fihista, and we have a hope we can get those criminals back behind the bar. So thank you, all of you, coming here, show the sports, and feel the pain 10 years ago, Sikh community have it. And we wish our riders safe ride all the way and deliver the correct message to the whole community. ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਇੱਥੇ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਦਾ ਆਉਣ 'ਤੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਬਹੁਤ ਧੰਨਵਾਦ। ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜੋ ਸਿੱਖ ਰਾਈਡਰਸ ਕਲੱਬ ਜੋ ਇੱਥੋਂ ਜਾ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ, ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ 2 ਵੀਕ ਦਾ ਇਹ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਹੈ, ਜਿਹੜਾ ਕਿ ਈਜ਼ੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਗਰਮੀ ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਹੈ। ਦੂਸਰਾ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਜੇ ਮੋਟਰਸਾਈਕਲ ਨੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ 200-300 ਮੀਲ ਰੇਂਜ ਆ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਗੈਸ ਦੀ ਹੈ, ਪੈਟਰੋਲ ਦੀ। ਫਿਰ ਵੀ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਹੌਸਲੇ ਬੁਲੰਦ ਨੇ। ਅਸੀਂ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਸਟਾਕਟਨ ਗੁਰਦੁਆਰਾ ਸੇਵਾ ਕਮੇਟੀ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਬਹੁਤ ਬਹੁਤ ਧੰਨਵਾਦ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਜੋ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਇਹ ਮੈਸੇਜ ਪਹੁੰਚਾਉਣ ਦੀ ਕੋਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ। ਅਤੇ ਬਲਵੀਰ ਸਿੰਘ ਸੋਢੀ ਸਾਡੇ ਚੰਗੇ ਵਧੀਆ ਮਿੱਤਰ ਸਨ, ਸਾਡੇ ਰੂਮਮੇਟ ਵੀ ਸਨ। ਸੈਨ ਫਰਾਂਸਿਸਕੋ ਅਸੀਂ ਇਕੱਠਿਆਂ ਟੈਕਸੀ ਚਲਾਈ ਅਤੇ 2-3 ਮਹੀਨੇ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਹੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਉੱਥੇ ਸਟੇਸ਼ਨ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਓਪਨ ਕੀਤਾ ਸੀ, ਆਪ ਬਿਲਡ ਕੀਤਾ। ਉਸ ਪਰਿਵਾਰ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਸੋਮਵਾਰ ਦਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਲੰਚ ਅਤੇ ਡਿਨਰ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਰਾਈਡਰਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਘਰ ਹੋਵੇਗਾ। ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਰਿਕੁਐਸਟ ਵੀ ਭੇਜੀ ਸੀ ਅਤੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਵੀ ਕੀਤੀ ਸੀ। ਮੈਂ ਦਿਲਬਾਗ ਸਿੰਘ ਹੋਰਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਵਾਈ ਸੀ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ। ਸੋ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਅੱਗੇ ਅਰਦਾਸ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਸੇਫ ਇਹ ਰਾਈਡ ਕਰਨ ਅਤੇ ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੋ ਮੈਸੇਜ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਚੱਲੇ ਆ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਅਸੀਂ ਬਾਕੀ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਤੱਕ ਪਹੁੰਚਾਈਏ। ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ।
ਸਾਡੇ MC ਸਰਦਾਰ ਕੁਲਜੀਤ ਸਿੰਘ ਜੀ ਨਿੱਜਰ, ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਬਹੁਤ ਬਹੁਤ ਧੰਨਵਾਦ ਆ। ਹਾਂਜੀ, ਬਹੁਤ ਖੂਬੀ ਨਾਲ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸੇਵਾ ਨਿਭਾਈ ਹੈ, ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਤਹਿ ਦਿਲ ਤੋਂ ਧੰਨਵਾਦ ਆ। ਇਸ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਹੀ ਇਸ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਦੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਆ ਸਮਾਪਤੀ ਵੱਲ ਆਪਾਂ ਜਾ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ। ਇੱਕ ਵਾਰ ਤੋਂ ਫਿਰ ਅਸੀਂ ਸਾਰੀ ਸੰਗਤ ਦਾ, ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਦਾ, ਗੁਰਦੁਆਰਾ ਪ੍ਰਬੰਧਕ ਕਮੇਟੀ ਦਾ ਅਤੇ ਇੱਥੇ ਜਿੰਨੇ ਵੀ ਇਲੈਕਟਡ ਆਫੀਸਰਸ ਆਏ ਹੋਏ ਨੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਦਾ ਤਹਿ ਦਿਲ ਤੋਂ ਧੰਨਵਾਦ। ਸਾਡੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਵੀਰ ਆ ਕਲੱਬ ਦੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਵੀ ਤਹਿ ਦਿਲ ਤੋਂ ਧੰਨਵਾਦ ਆ। ਜਿਹੜੇ ਮੀਡੀਆ ਆਪਣੇ ਟੀਮਸ ਇੱਥੇ ਸਾਡੀਆਂ ਪਹੁੰਚੀਆਂ ਹੋਈਆਂ, ਇੱਕ ਵਾਰ ਤੋਂ ਫਿਰ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਤਹਿ ਦਿਲ ਤੋਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਬਹੁਤ ਧੰਨਵਾਦ ਆ। ਤੁਸੀਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਸਪੋਰਟ ਦੇ ਰਹੇ ਜੋ। ਇਹ ਉਹ ਇੱਕ ਟਾਈਮ ਆ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਲੋੜ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਮੈਸੇਜ ਆ ਉਹ ਜਿੰਨੀ ਵੀ ਦੂਰ ਘਰ ਘਰ ਪਹੁੰਚ ਸਕਦਾ ਹੋਵੇ ਉਹ ਪਹੁੰਚਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਹੈ। ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਮੇਰੀ ਇੰਟਰਵਿਊ ਚੱਲ ਰਹੀ ਸੀਗੀ ਜਦੋਂ ਇੱਕ ਰਿਪੋਰਟਰ ਨੇ ਸਵਾਲ ਕੀਤਾ ਇਹਦਾ ਕਾਰਨ ਕੀ ਹੋ ਸਕਦਾ ਹੈ, ਜਿਹੜਾ ਵੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇਹਦੀ ਪ੍ਰਾਪਤੀ ਕੀ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਆ। ਅਤੇ ਸੱਚ ਜਾਣਿਓ ਸਾਡੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਆ ਹਿਰਦੇ ਵਲੁੰਦਰੇ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਆ। ਅਸੀਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਕਿ ਇੱਕ ਹੋਰ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਕਿਸੇ ਕੈਜੁਅਲਟੀ ਦਾ ਸਾਹਮਣਾ ਕਰਨਾ ਪਵੇ। ਹਰ ਇੱਕ ਜਾਨ ਬਹੁਤ ਕੀਮਤੀ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਆ। ਅਸੀਂ ਕੋਈ ਵੀ ਜਾਨ ਨਹੀਂ ਗਵਾਉਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ। ਇਹ ਕੋਈ ਸੌਖਾ ਕੰਮ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗਾ। ਕੋਈ ਪਰਿਵਾਰਾਂ ਨੇ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੇ ਵਿਛੋੜੇ ਉਹਦੇ ਝੱਲਣੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਔਖੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਆ। ਅਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਬੇਨਤੀ ਕਰਾਂਗਾ ਸਾਰੀ ਸੰਗਤ ਨੂੰ, ਸਾਰੇ ਆਫੀਸਰਸ ਨੂੰ, ਸਾਰੇ ਇੱਥੇ ਜਿੰਨੇ ਵੀ ਪਹੁੰਚੇ ਹੋਏ ਤੁਸੀਂ, ਆਪਾਂ ਬਾਹਰ ਇੱਕ ਗਰੁੱਪ ਫੋਟੋ ਲੈਣੀ ਆ ਅਤੇ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੇ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਹਿੱਸਾ ਲੈਣਾ ਆ। ਪ੍ਰਬੰਧਕਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਮੈਂ ਬੇਨਤੀ ਕਰਾਂਗਾ। I just want to go over one more time in English. We are so grateful for this event being sponsored and hosted by the Gurdwara committee, and then we are thankful to the congregation as well as all the city officials for coming out here. We are so thankful to the media and all the brothers from the other clubs coming out here. We would like to go ahead and request each and every one of you to please, we're going to go out there and then take a group photo, real big one, good one, okay? So please do go ahead and join us with that. We will be doing it right outside over there by the club canopy. Thank you so much. And then I just want to do a quick announcement on the ride plan. So one more time, tomorrow morning we will be heading out right from here after the prayer at 9 a.m. ਜਿਹੜੇ ਵੀ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਜਾਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਹੋਣਗੇ, ਕੱਲ੍ਹ ਨੂੰ ਸੁਬਾਹ ਅਸੀਂ ਇੱਥੋਂ 9 ਵਜੇ ਸਵੇਰੇ ਚਾਲੇ ਪਾਣੇ ਨੇ ਅਰਦਾਸ ਸੁਦਾ ਕੇ। ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਦਾ ਤਹਿ ਦਿਲ ਤੋਂ ਧੰਨਵਾਦ ਹੈ ਜੀ। ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ ਜੀ।
ਬੋਲੋ ਮੋਤ ਦੁਆਰ ਜਾ ਕਾ ਸੰਦਰ ਦਾ ਭੰਡਾਰ ਜੀ ਜੋਤ ਜਾਨ ਸੁਆਮੀ ਸਦਾ ਰੱਖਣ ਹਾਰ ਦੁਖ ਦਰਦ ਕਲੇਸ਼ ਬਿਨਸੈ ਜਿਸ ਬਸੈ ਮਨ ਮਾਹੇ ਮਿਰਤ ਨਰਕ ਥਾਨ ਵਿਖੜੇ ਵੇਖ ਨ ਪੋਹੈ ਤਾਹੇ ਰਿਦ ਸਿਧ ਨਾਮ ਨਿਦ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਅੰਮ੍ਰਿਤ ਪਰਵਾਹ ਆਦਿ ਅੰਤੇ ਮਦ ਪੂਰਨ ਊਚ ਅਗਮ ਗਾਹ ਸਿਧ ਸਾਧਕ ਦੇਵ ਮਨ ਜਨ ਭੇਦ ਕਰੇ ਉਚਾਰ ਸਿਮਰ ਸੁਆਮੀ ਸੁਖ ਸਹਿਜ ਪਹੁੰਚੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਅੰਤ ਪਾਰਾਵਾਰ ਅਨਕ ਪ੍ਰਸ਼ਾਤ ਮਿਟ ਖੈਨ ਮੈਂ ਹਿਰਦੈ ਜਪ ਭਗਵਾਨ ਪਾਵਨਾ ਤੇ ਮਹਾ ਪਾਵਨ ਕੋਟ ਦਾਨ ਇਸ਼ਨਾਨ ਬਲ ਬੁੱਧ ਸੁਧ ਪ੍ਰਾਨ ਸਰਬਸ ਸੰਤਨਾ ਕੀ ਰਾਸ ਬਿਸਰ ਨਾਹੀ ਨੇਮਕ ਮਨ ਤੇ ਨਾਨਕੀ ਅਰਦਾਸ ਮਾਰੂ ਮਹਲਾ ਪੰਜਵਾਂ ਹੱਥ ਦੇਖਣ ਕਾਢ ਡਾਰਿਓ ਮਨ ਨਾ ਕੀਨੋ ਰੋਸ ਕਾਜੂਆਂ ਕੋ ਲੈ ਸਵਾਰਿਓ ਤਿਲ ਨਾ ਦੀਨੋ ਦੋਸ ਮਨ ਮੇਰੇ ਰਾਮ ਰੋ ਨਿਤ ਨੀਤ ਦਿਆਲ ਦੇਵ ਕਿਰਪਾਲ ਗੋਬਿੰਦ ਸੁਣ ਸੰਤਨਾ ਕੀ ਰੀਤ ਰਾਮ ਚਰਨ ਤਲੈ ਗਾਏ ਬੈਸੇ ਬੈਸਿਓ ਸਰਮਨ ਰਿਓ ਸਰੀਰ ਮਹਾਸਾਗਰ ਨਾ ਵਿਆਪੈ ਖਨੈ ਉਤਰਿਓ ਤੀਰ ਚੰਦਨ ਅਗਰ ਕਪੂਰ ਲੇਪਨੋ ਤੈ ਸੰਗ ਨਹੀਂ ਪ੍ਰੀਤ ਬੇਟਾ ਮੰਤਰ ਖੋਦ ਤਿਲ ਤਿਲ ਮਨ ਨਾ ਮਨਿਓ ਵਿਪਰੀਤ ਊਚ ਨੀਚ ਪੁਕਾਰ ਸੁਕਿਰਤ ਸਗਲ ਗਨ ਸਭ ਸੁਖ ਸਤਰ ਮਿੱਤਰ ਸਤਰ ਨਾ ਕੁਸ ਜਾਣੈ ਸਰਬ ਜੀ ਸਮਤ ਕਰ ਪ੍ਰਗਾਸ ਪਰ ਚੰਡ ਪਲਟਿਓ ਅੰਧਕਾਰ ਵਿਨਾਸ਼ ਪਵਿੱਤ ਪਵਿੱਤਰ ਕਹਿਣ ਲਾਗੇ ਮਨ ਨਾ ਪਇਓ ਵਿਗਾਸ ਸੀਤ ਮਤ ਸੁਗੰਧ ਚਲਿਓ ਸਰਬ ਤਨ ਸੁਮਾਨ ਜਾਂ ਸਕ ਸਿਤਾਨ ਲਾਗਿਓ ਤਿਲ ਨ ਸਕਾ ਮਾਨ ਸਵਾਈ ਸਵਾਈ ਜੋ ਨੇਟ ਆਵੈ ਸੀਤਾ ਕਾ ਜਾਏ ਆਪ ਪਰ ਕਾ ਕਸੂ ਨ ਜਾਣੈ ਸਦਾ ਸਹਿਜ ਸਵਾਈ ਚਰਨ ਸਰਨ ਸਨਾਤ ਓ ਮਨ ਰੰਗ ਰਾਤੀ ਲਾਲ ਗੋਪਾਲ ਗੁਣ ਨਿਤ ਗਾਓ ਨਾਨਕ ਭੈ ਪ੍ਰਭ ਕਿਰਪਾਲ ਮਾਰੂ ਮਹਲਾ ਪੰਜਵਾਂ ਘਰ ਚੌਥਾ ਅਸ਼ਟਪਦੀਆਂ ਇੱਕ ਓੰਕਾਰ ਸਤਿਗੁਰ ਪ੍ਰਸਾਦ ਚਾਂਦਨਾ ਚਾਂਦਨ ਆਗਨ ਪ੍ਰਭ ਜੀਓ ਅੰਤਰ ਚਾਦਨਾ ਆਰਾਧਨਾ ਆਰਾਧਨਾ ਨੀਕਾ ਹਰ ਹਰ ਨਾਮ ਆਰਾਧਨਾ ਤਿਆਗਣਾ ਤਿਆਗਨ ਨੀਕਾ ਕਾਮ ਕਰੋ ਲੋ ਤਿਆਗਣਾ ਮੰਗਣਾ ਮੰਗਣ ਨੀਕਾ ਹਰ ਜਸ ਗੁਰ ਤੇ ਮੰਗਣਾ ਜਾਗਣਾ ਜਾਗਣ ਨੀਕਾ ਹਰ ਕੀਰਤ ਮੈਂ ਜਾਗਣਾ ਲਾਗਣਾ ਲਾਗਣ ਨੀਕਾ ਗੁਰ ਚਾਨੀ ਮਨ ਲਾਗਣਾ ਇਹ ਵਿਦਿਤ ਸਹਿ ਪ੍ਰਾਪ ਤੇ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਮਸਤਕ ਭਾਗਣਾ ਕੋ ਨਾਨਕ ਤੇ ਸਭ ਕੁਛ ਨੀਕਾ ਜੋ ਪ੍ਰਭ ਕੀ ਸਰਨਾਗਣਾ ਮਾਰੂ ਮਹਲਾ ਪੰਜਵਾਂ ਆਇ ਆਓ ਜੀ ਤੂੰ ਆਓ ਹਮਾਰਾ ਹਰ ਜਸ ਸਰਬਨ ਸੁਨਾਵਣਾ ਰਹਾਓ ਤੋਰ ਰਾਤ ਮੇਰਾ ਮਨ ਤਨ ਹਰਿਆ ਹਰ ਜਸ ਤੁਮ ਰੰਗ ਲਕਾਵਣਾ